There have been many projects over the years that have talked about Tupac's legacy, talked about his influence on the musical world and globally in general, but nobody has ever, to my knowledge, approached his story through the lens of his mother and his background as a Panther. I'm just curious to know, and I know that the project is called Dear Mama, so this might be an obvious answer, but why did you decide to focus it from that lens? Because it very easily could have been one of those things where, you know, his legacy was glorified and you did not shy away from those hard moments that make him and Afeni not look lovely.
Yeah, I was raised by a feminist activist, single mother who was on the front lines of the women's rights movement. So I related to having a mother that was that active in the movement. Although their movements were different, they were all one in marching towards human rights. And also you losing your mother to the struggle because she's so dedicated to that. I can relate to all that. And not because of the times, but because I was raised, I'm like, a lot of women get erased from history, particularly women of color. So I was very sensitive to that. And the number one thing was like, what was Tupac's original purpose and mission in life? And it was social justice. It got away from him a little bit there in the death row years, but he was young, and you go through your levels and your progressions, and he would have gotten back to it. So I just wanted to make sure that we focused the legacy on what was important and what the original true intent was of Afeni Shakur.
Having said that, we've talked a little bit about what the legacy of Tupac is, how that's held up during this 50th year of hip hop. But how do you feel like Afeni's legacy as the mother of somebody that was so huge in the hip hop culture, and she had her own identity within the culture after he passed away? How do you think her identity is held up?
I think Afeni's identity is evolving to what it was meant to originally be, which is this heroic and flawed figure in the civil rights movement, as we all are. No one's perfect, but I think her struggles show that, and her honesty about her struggles show how human and honest. Like she's a really like well-rounded, honest, frank person. So sometimes people couldn't handle that about her. And I think Dear Mama is the first piece of, I'm sure, several that'll come that will cement her legacy as a social justice warrior and an incredible mother, obviously. And she was a mother to many, as far as her intellect and what she shared with the world and what she shared with many women and young boys. So I think her legacy 20 years from now will be, she'll be on the Mount Rushmore of the civil rights movement, as she should be.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one, 1000%. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Menace to Society. That's when you first met Tupac. Am I correct in that assessment?
Met him a year before Menace started. I met him when we were still doing music videos, and we had the Menace script, but nothing was happening at that time. And
So,
by the way, it's the Menace 30th anniversary this year as well. Hip
all
Hop
right.
Menace 30. Yeah.
All right. Snaps and claps for all of that. Let's talk a little bit about casting him in Menace.
Mm-hmm.
What made you said you worked with him on a music video a year prior. What was it that lingered in the back of your mind at that moment, that when you were beginning to start to cast Menace, you were like, let's see this brother for this part right here?
Well, we had done 3 music videos with him, and he was in other music videos we had done as well. And we knew, this is before Juice came out, that he was a star. Like it was a blind, deaf, and whatever person could feel that energy. Um, he was magical in that way. So we all talked about doing movies together. But by that time, John Singleton had cast him in Poetic Justice, and he was in love with the process of working with John Singleton only. So he agreed to just do a small role in ours, which is all we needed at the time. And he was going to play the Muslim character Sharif in Menace Society. And then it got a little disruptive, and He got a little erratic, and unfortunately, we had to part ways, and that's what happened.
Okay, so we've talked about Afeni's legacy, we've talked about Tupac's legacy, but how do you think your legacy as a filmmaker with Menace to Society and all the music videos that you've done and Dead Presidents and this mini TV series Dear Mama will hold up 50 years from now?
I hope well, I hope it's just known as a truth teller and an individual. And when I was with my brother, we were doing things that people, like didn't see. Oh, that's an interesting way. I didn't understand why those kids did that, or I didn't understand that in the case of Dead Presidents, the condition of Black Vietnam veterans and what they had to go through. And now in my solo career, from Defiant Ones to Dear Mama to the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary that I wrote and produced, there's like insights into these characters, that these journeys that are diverse and different, and just maybe you're looking at the world and these human beings in ways you hadn't before. Hopefully, that's the legacy, and be incredibly inspired by it.
I'm inspired by you. I saw that Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary. That was fire. You are fire. I'm so happy that you made, like, seriously. And anybody that knows me will tell you, I don't just give compliments for the sake of giving them. I'm so not that doll. But I'm really not. But thank you so much for carving time out for me today. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. And this was a wonderful bucket list moment for me. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much, Carla. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.